Yes, Satish.
Okay. I'm not sure. Rajshekhar joined and left again. Let's wait for 2 more minutes. We'll see, depending on the joining. 7:30, right? Let's wait 7:32 till 32.
Yes, sir. Yes.
So we had time around 40 minutes. Let's plan whatever we can do in these 40 minutes, okay? Because this is not allowing more than 40 minutes. So if you people join early, that would be easy for us to complete most of the portion. Okay? Let's be sure that we join 2 minutes early. We'll not wait for people to after joining. Okay?
Yes.
Is Raghu is going to join or how it will be? Does anyone know?
Satish, I'll cross-check with him.
Please check. Please. So what I did is I just prepared few points with respect to COBOL. I will just walk through those points so that it will be easy for you to understand. Because writing in the limited span is getting hectic. We are not able to complete most of the things. So I already prepared few points. I will explain that. You can ask questions if you have any. Okay, let's wait 1 more minute. If Raghu is not joining, we'll continue. Okay, let's start. I think Raghu will join later. We'll see. So basically, yesterday we discussed about general environments in what while we are doing jobs. So today we'll be discussing the basic concept with respect to COBOL. I'll explain what is COBOL and what is JCL. After that, I will explain the basic concept of COBOL. Okay. Even Raghu has joined, so let's start the session. So basically, in mainframes we had like different streams like COBOL, JCL, DB2, VSAM, and CICS. Okay, so with respect to COBOL is a programming language basically. As it is said you yesterday, it is a English type of language basically. COBOL stands for Common Business Oriented Language. You can remember this. You can note down this Common Business Oriented Language, and it is a English type of language. So what does we do in COBOL is basically we process the data, manipulate the data as per the business requirements. Let's say if an account is opened, if we need to populate the account details on the screen, we process that data and populate that data to output file. So we get this account details from database. Once we pull the data for a given customer ID, the data will be populated into the screen. So that is what COBOL does. Let's say if let's say a loan amount is being taken, if we need to calculate the interest amount and do for every month we need to debit the amount which EMI is paid, right? So all these validations, all this logic will be manipulated or performed or processed in COBOL. So basically COBOL is the language which does all this functionality with respect to business rules. Let's say whatever let's say some amount has been detected as EMI from his loan amount. So we need to do minus and populate the remaining amount to his loan screen. So that is what this Cobol does basically in the background. So that is basically with respect to Cobol. It is a programming language which processes the data and manipulates the data with respect to the requirement, business rules or business requirement. So that is what Cobol does. So let's say I written a program to populate the same loan amount onto the screen. So how does we execute that program? So once the program is been written, let's say I written a program A. Program A has been written to populate loan amount for every month after EMI is paid. So here we what does we do? We from total loan amount, we minus do subtract the EMI amount and given whatever the what result we will populate to customer customer screen as remaining loan amount. So we are writing this program, but how to execute this program? When we write a program A, how does we execute that? We execute that with respect to JCL. JCL stands for Job Control Language. What does this JCL takes is, JCL basically consists of the Cobol program which we coded, Cobol program plus input. It takes as these two as what input to it, as source to it, source to JCL. So what does JCL generate? The output. So basically, let's say the Cobol program is written, we given the customer ID as input. So JCL will submit this Cobol program with this input and generate the output. The remaining total amount of what is the pending loan amount we'll get as output. So that is what basically we get with respect to the JCL. So JCL takes program and input data as the input to JCL. So once the data has been processed with respect to Cobol, we will generate the output. Means we will process the data with respect to Cobol program, and then we generate the output. That output will be populated to the screen. So that is what basically we have in JCL. Are we good here? Any questions? So JCL is a basically in mainframe environment. Mainframe environment is basically what is as we had Windows environment, Windows OS. Similarly, in mainframe we had an OS called ZOS. So with respect to ZOS, what does this JCL is? It acts an intermediate between the ZOS, that is operating system, and also the COBOL model. So whatever the processing is done by the COBOL model, it will be given to the ZOS to populate that into as output. So basically, we don't have any Windows or Linux OS. This basically mainframe is having its own OS that is called as ZOS. So with respect to ZOS, we code a COBOL program. Once program is coded, that would be given as given in the JCL to execute that JCL with respect along with the data, what data we are processing. So let's say here the customer ID will be given as data along with the program. So these two, it will take these two as input and process the data and populate the output to the ZOS. So that is what basically happens in COBOL. So JCL is job control language. Basically, it is used to execute the job. Uh, do you have any questions here, team? I think that has no questions there. Can I expect no questions? Okay. So we are good with the JCL and COBOL, right? So as I told you, like customer ID. Yes, Madhavi, what is your question? Madhavi, you can ping in the chat. I can see and I will explain if you have any questions. Okay, good. So basically, the process happens with respect to JCL and COBOL. COBOL will have the logic. JCL will execute those logic and provide us the output. So from where we will get the data? I mean user ID. Let's say for a customer ID, from where we will get that customer ID? Basically, the customer name that is stored in either VSAM or DB2. These are the databases we are basically in COBOL. We had other database also, IMSDB, but we are not because those are very less used. So I'm not covering that. We will be using VSAM and DB2. So DB2 is a relational database. VSAM is a file database. So data is stored on tables and also files. So DB2 store the data in database. VSAM store the data in files. In files also we had multiple types. I will explain when we are talking about VSAM. But remember this, we will get the input data through DB2. We uh, process that data with respect to COBOL program and we generate that output. That output would be fed to JetOS. So that is what basically happens. So in mainframes, we had two types of jobs. Basically, we call that as online and batch. Okay. Batch jobs are executed with JCL. Online jobs are executed with CICS. Okay. So the batch job consists of JCL, COBOL program, and input and output. Similarly, in CICS, what we have is we will have transactions. Whenever a transaction is triggered, it will load the COBOL program. It will what manipulate the data and produce the output. So that is how the basically CICS works. CICS is online program basically, where we don't have any JCLs here. Basically, whenever the transaction is triggered, with respect to transaction, a COBOL program will be triggered. The COBOL program will do that manipulations. I mean the loan calculation and populate the remaining loan amount to the screen. So that is what happens here. With respect to JCL, we submit the JCL here. There are no triggering process basically, and that we call as batch processing. So with respect to what mainframes, we had two types of flows: online processing and batch processing. Batch processing is done with respect to JCL. Online is processing is done with respect to CICS. Guys, any questions here? I'll go ahead with COBOL here. Basically, if you don't have any questions, I will explain the COBOL. Okay, let's go ahead with the COBOL. So in COBOL, I'm starting with the basic data types. What are the data types we had in COBOL? So with respect to that, we'll go further. So COBOL data types are classified as numeric, alphabetic, alphanumeric, sign and decimal. Okay. So there are 5 data types. There are other data types also, but we will be using most these as important data types. Mostly used data types are these: numeric, alphabetic, alphanumeric, sign, and decimal. So sign and decimal are with respect to numeric data type. While mentioning the numeric data type, we give sign and decimal there. So let me explain what is numeric data type. Numeric data type consists of only digits of 0 and 9. So in numeric data type, we will consist of only digits of 0 to 9. No other data will present, like A or something like that is not present. Whenever we are representing salary amount, salary, or some like home address, something like that, some amount values, we declare that as basically as numeric data types. So for an employee, what is the salary of that employee? So when we are declaring that salary part in Cobol program, we declare that as pick 9 of 5. So 9 of 5 represents basically the numeric data type. Numeric data types is always represented with 9. So always we represent numeric data type with 9. So with respect to salary, as it is containing only 0 to 9 digits, we declare that as 9 of 5. I'll explain what is this picture class and what is this 0, 1. But you remember this salary, the data type should be 9 of 5, 9 of 5, 9 of 6, 9 of 10. Whatever the amount, salary changes from experience to experience, depending on how much salary we declare that with respect to that. So coming to alphabetic, let's say there is an employee name. The employee name maximum characters can be 20 or 30 depending on the scenario or business. So we declare that as A of 20. So always you declare alphabetic data type as A of 10, A of 5, A of 10, 20, A of 0, 1. So depending on how much data we are getting, with respect to that, we declare that. But alphabetic data type should always should consist of A. We represent that as A. So that is what you should remember basically. Numeric should be 9, alphabetic should be A, and there is alphanumeric. Basically it can consist of both numbers and also alphabets. So that should be basically declared as X. So that is what, let's say employee ID HDC. Some employee IDs can be like Hyderabad. When it is a Hyderabad development center, we give that as HDC 001. So HDC basically is a Hyderabad development center, and 001 is employee ID. So a combination of these two we give as employee ID to distinguish. So that is how the alphanumeric data type will present. It should always starts with X. It should be represented always with X. X of 20, X of 1, X of 5. So that is how these are the basic data types in Cobol. So with respect to numeric, we can give, let's say an amount can be positive or negative amount. It can be anything. Like if we are subtracting some amount, EMI should always be negative amount when we are subtracting from the loan amount. So for that we give as minus 9 of 5. So with respect to minus 9 of 5, we says that it is a negative amount. We should subtract from the loan amount. As due to that, we give as minus 9 of 5. That is what basically the sign here S represents the sign. Basically it is what plus or minus sign it basically represents. So depending on which sign we should give, it will be stored in this yes. So 9 will be numeric, yes will be what type of sign it is. So when we are representing some decimal point in Cobol, we should always give as V, or also we can give as yes 9 of 3. Point also we can give, but mostly we code that in Cobol as V does not take any storage, but with respect to decimal point, it will take storage in Cobol, but we will not take any storage. The Cobol will take care of that point. Basically whenever V is mentioned, program Cobol will consider that as a point, decimal point. So here it will not take any storage with respect to storage, but point will always take storage in the memory. So that is why, what is the basic difference between point and V is that. But generally we most common representation of decimal point in Cobol is V. So let's say minus 123.45 is the representation of decimal point. So that is what basically the data types in COBOL. There are other data types, but as at the starting, we can consider these are the basic data types in COBOL. Any questions here? Please ask questions here. If you have any questions, if you struck question, have any doubts, please ask. Don't hesitate to ask. Okay, I take that as you don't have any questions. You are good with that.
Please repeat a decimal point once.
Decimal point is basically what is that is we are storing data. Let's say some decimal we need to store in COBOL. So it can be represented as V or point. So here V will not take any storage. But point will take, decimal point will take storage. So basically we represent the decimal point. Let's say 123.45 also we can declare, or say here you can observe, right? S9 of 3, V9 of 2. The value can be the value is 123.45. So it says that decimal point is after 3 digits. We represent the decimal point. When V is given, V is not stored in the memory, but point will be stored. We can also represent this as point. This way also we can represent, but generally we give V. Why? Because it is not going to take any storage in the memory. That is why we give that as V. Are we good here?
Okay.
So that is what with respect to data types. There are other data types also. I will explain you these 3 data types like comp1, comp2 and comp3 data types down the line when we go up to that point. Okay. So here with respect to this, you need to know what is this 0, 1 and picture class, right? So picture class acts as an a bridge between the variable name and the data type. Data type is this and variable name is this. The COBOL syntax is in such a manner the picture class acts as a bridge between these two basically. So this tells picture class tells this variable is assigned with data type A and length is 20. That is what the picture class basically tells. Pic means picture class. What does it represent? Picture class is used to specify the type and size of the data, elementary data type. It consists of word pic or picture followed by the actual picture class. Actual picture class is this only. What is the actual picture class? S9 of 5, X of 20, A of 20. This represents actual picture class. That means the data and the type. So it acts as a bridge between the variable name and the data type and the length of the type. So this is what the COBOL syntax basically looks like. This picture class what connects between the data type and the variable name. That is what the picture class is. So you always should declare a variable in such a manner. WS data name, picture class is compulsory. So after that, what is the data type and what is its length? Length is 20, data type is alphabetic. Okay. So that is what the picture class basically does. Are we good here, team? Any questions? Let me know. So here, let's take this same example. Okay. So we are good till picture class, right? So there are numeric data can be stored in other formats also. So this is numeric data type. I'll give Jets heads up today. We'll discuss this tomorrow because we don't have much time. 10 more minutes is left. So here the data will be stored in memory. as 5 bytes. Why 5 bytes? Because the salary is 5, length is 5. So we can store 5 bytes of data in this basically. Are we good? Till this, what is max value? So this is what maximum length maximum value we can store in basically in 9 of 5. So maximum will be this, and this data will be stored in memory as 5 bytes. So so sometimes the salary can be even 10,000 also, even 50,000 also. So it changes person to person. The salary changes from person to person. So what does here basically we do is comp is used for storage purpose. Saving the memory. So for saving the memory, we had different data types in COBOL. That is comp, comp1, comp2, comp3. So comp is generally stored as binary data type. This is also similar binary only. Currently, no one is using most of this comp or comp2. One or rare scenarios we will see comp data type, comp1 data type, but not comp2. Comp2 is never used in the COBOL, basically in projects. That is very rarely used. This is also binary, but this is a hexadecimal data type. So what is the difference between comp and comp3 is this is generally used for numeric data types. This is generally used for decimal data type. Here the data is stored in hexadecimal format. Here the data is stored in binary format. So when you are seeing comp3 variable, you should give hexon command to view the data. This will be generally, this is also right, binary is always zeros and ones. So here the data is stored in zeros and ones. Due to that, the storage will be less when compared to 9 of 5. Here this also the same thing. This is binary data type, but here there are specific lengths for every specific range. Like 1 to 5, it takes as 4 bytes. Means S9 of 1 to S9 of 5. 9 of 1. 9 of 0 you consider. 9 of 0 to let's take 1 only. You will get confused if I take 0. So till this data it takes as 4 bytes. Okay. From 9 of 6 to 9 of 9. This should be 2 bytes, not 4 bytes. This is 2. This is 4. 9 of 10 to 9 of 18. It takes 8 bytes. Guys, we are running out of time. Let's close this till here. If you have any questions with respect to yesterday or today's, we will discuss that within these 10 minutes. I will discuss this comp tomorrow. Comp 2 and comp 3 I can discuss this tomorrow. Any doubts here? I will change this timing also. Instead of 40 minutes, I will increase this. I'm looking for the options basically to increase this to for 1 hour basically. I'm looking at other options also. Once that is fixed, we can go ahead with that. But till then, bear with me for these 40 minutes. Any questions with respect to today's or yesterday's class? The data types in the JCL, COBOL, DB2, VZAM, or with respect to production or UAT regions or anything. Whatever we discussed these 2 days, any questions, let me know. I'll be sharing the link to you also for this video, recorded video. I'm recording today. Yesterday we have not recorded it, but today I recorded it. I will be sharing that.
Hello, Satish.
Tell me.
Sunil here.
Mm-hmm.
Satish, do we need to learn this everything? Actually, I'm from commerce background, and all this terminology I'm listening or hearing like first time. So, do we know? Do
Yes,
we go through this everything, or is this
it's
is kind of basics?
this is basics basically. So
Okay.
once we go into the COBOL code programming level, you need to have basic. You need to have knowledge of this basically because these are the fundamentals of coding. So whatever the data representation done in programming, that should be done with respect to these data types only. So if you know these data types, then only you can understand what we are doing in the program. So if you are new to this, please read this multiple times to make you understand what is happening. What is the data type? Let's say if an employee data is given in what employee record is present. Employee record is what basically employee details. So we call that details as record. So record will present of multiple fields. Each field is represented with respect to a data type. So what are the COBOL data types are? There are 3 types of data types in COBOL: numeric, alphabetic, alphanumeric. That's it. Let's say take an employee record. Sunil record is there. Sunil is the employee name. Whatever the Sunil details, name, salary, his profession, his department. Let's take this 4 as his details. So all these 4 details is present in one record. So all these 4 details present is one record. We consider that as one record. With respect to one record, we had 4 fields in that. What are the 4 fields? Name, what is the salary, what is his department. So these are the basic fields with respect to that record. So how do we represent these fields in COBOL? Let's say name can be represented as alphabetic because it will not have zeros and nines, 0 to 9 digits. So it will be always with respect to Indian standards, we will have always characters only. So that should be declared as alphabetic. Salary should salary can always be numeric data type. Employee ID can always be alphanumeric data type. So that is how we represent basically. So each field is represented with respect to a data type. So you must know what is the basic concept of that. Without that, if you are not able to program anything in the COBOL. Okay.
Sure, I'll go through this. Sure.
So that is what basic concept of that. You basically learn this. What you take screenshots. I will be providing this document also. But whenever I'm giving these details, you take screenshot or note down what is the basic concept of that, so that you once you onboarded, it will be easy for you to make the things work in the project. Any other
Yes,
questions?
yes.
You are good with v and dot, right? Will not take storage, dot will be taken storage. This will be one of the interview question. So I'll be giving this interview questions also. So I request you to maintain a separate notes for this interview questions. When I am telling that as an interview question, you better make that point in the separate notes as interview questions. So these will be asked in the interviews. If you know these questions, it will be easy for you to answer. Okay. This will be one interview question basically for a 1 to 2 years experience. This will be even sometimes 3 years they will ask, but very less. 99%, 1 to 2 years people, they will ask what is V and where advantages of V. So V will not take storage in the COBOL memory. So but point will decimal point will take storage in the memory. What is picture class? Picture class is used to specify the data type and the elementary between the variable and the data type. That is what you should mention. Guys, any other questions? I'll be discussing this comp. These are the basic, most important things in the COBOL. Please be available for tomorrow's class. What is comp 1, comp 2, and comp 3? I will be explaining this tomorrow. I'll explain this also. Let me explain this. It will be easy for you. If we can complete that in 5 minutes, I think. So let's say if a record is present, employee record. Okay. So employee record will always have elementary group as 1. In COBOL, we represent record with respect to elementary groups. We had multiple elementary groups in COBOL. Okay. We had multiple elementary groups in COBOL. 01 is the first starting elementary group. 02, 05. It goes on till 79. Okay. So these are the basic elementary groups in COBOL. So if we are representing a record, employee record, like Sunil record, we are representing. Sunil record, we give as 01. So Sunil can have multiple departments. He worked in multiple departments. Let's say Sunil, salary, 1 lakh, department HR, date of joining can be 2022, 2020 we give. And later on Sunil moved to, his salary increased to 2 lakhs, manager of HR, he moved to this designation 2022. Okay. So this represent basically one record. We give this as 01 level. Each record will be always given as 01 level. What is 02 level consist of basically? Let's say a student record is present. Name, class, subjects. So basically this represent a student record. So always we give student record representation as 01. That means the student record is present at 01. It is mandatory in COBOL that every record will be represented at 01 level. What does 02 level represent is name, let's say 01 name, 01 class, 01 subjects. So here we can have elementary groups like mass, social, science. So if we go deep into a record, then this 02 level will come. Furthermore, if we go into social, we can have multiple, like here algebra is present. So we give 03 as algebra. We have in intermediate 1A and 1B, right? So we can represent that. 1A, 1B.